So first of all, thank you for joining our virtual open event. Obviously, we would much prefer to welcome you into college, show you our facilities, give you a chance to meet our staff. But unfortunately, due to coronavirus, we're unable to do that at the moment. So hopefully this presentation and virtual event will be useful for you and will give you all the information that you need. So first of all, if you are on this session today, you're here because you've applied for a course in construction. So that will cover all, today this session will cover all areas. A lot of the information will be similar, so for things like health and safety aspects of the course. So today we're going to cover all construction under one session. So we'll cover bricklaying, plastering, plumbing, wall and floor tiling, painting and decorating, electrical installation. I'm not sure if I've missed any. Have I missed any, Paul? Is that all?
I'm telling you, it's a quiz.
But Paul will do a presentation covering all of those all of those areas, and then we'll answer any specific questions at the end. For anyone that's just joined us, your camera and your mic will stay switched off for the whole event, so you won't be visible at all. The only people you'll see is myself, Paul and Chris, who are members of the construction team. So I'm going to share my screen and just start with a short presentation, just general college information, and then I'll pass over to Paul afterwards. So first of all, you should be able to see that presentation now. So first of all, thank you for joining us at our virtual open event. Hopefully you'll find it really useful and help you make your choice for joining us next year. So first of all, applications are still open. So if you've not yet applied for a course, but you are interested in joining us for construction, our applications are still open. We would recommend applying sooner rather than later, just so we can confirm your place, get your interview scheduled in, and that sort of thing. So you can apply by using that link at the bottom of the screen. Okay, obviously you're here today because you've applied for a course in construction, but there are other courses that we offer at college. So that's just a little bit of information of the other courses that we offer across St Helens, across our campuses. So although you've applied for a full-time course, we do also offer apprenticeships in construction. You would need an employer with for your apprenticeship. We can't always help you get that. So if you've got an employer willing to take you on, great. If not, you would need to start looking for vacancies out there. So how an apprenticeship works, it's a minimum of 30 hours a week. That's usually 4 days in the workplace and 1 day you attend college to complete your studies. The difference with a full-time course and an apprenticeship is obviously at the other end you will come out with your qualification. With both you will come out with work experience. However, with an apprenticeship you will be earning a wage and obviously you'll get a good reference from your employer and that sort of thing, and potential for employment at the end of it. If you are interested in apprenticeships, you can download our guide, so you can find that on our website, and that's just got information on apprenticeships in general. So all information that you will need, support with applying, how to write a CV, that sort of thing. And then at the bottom, you'll just see a link for the job shop. So any vacancies that we do have are listed through St Helens College website in our apprenticeship job shop, so you can apply for any vacancies through there. So as a student at St Helens College, there are some benefits. So all of our students are entitled to a free breakfast if they're in on time. So if your class starts at 9 o'clock, you've got to be in before 8:45 to get your free breakfast to set you up for the day. All of our students are also entitled to free college travel, for free transport into college. So we have a free college bus that covers areas like Wigan, St Helens, Knowsley. But we also offer a free Arriva bus pass for those that aren't on our free college bus route. You'll also be entitled to download the free Microsoft Office 365 package, so that will help you if you've got any coursework or anything like that. You can download that on your laptops or computers at home. The bottom three, you'll see bursaries, free college lunch and assistance to buy course equipment and uniform. So that is there. That's done off a financial assessment. So at enrolment stage, you will be assessed financially to see if you are eligible for those things. And that's just support with, if you need to buy a uniform or any equipment or tools or anything for your course. So you will be assessed for that at enrolment. At college, we also have a really good safeguarding and wellbeing team. So they work across all of our campuses from St Helens right over to Knowsley. So they are there to support our students and staff members if anybody has any issues. If you're struggling, if it's something personal, anything to do with college, anything that you might just need a little bit of support, the safeguarding and wellbeing team are there to offer that to you. We also have a learner support team. So if you require any support within class, so if you've got any additional learning needs, if it's something like dyslexia or something along those lines, we can offer that support to you as well. You would just need to let us know at enrolment stage so we could make sure we got that in place for you. And then just finally from me, so our social media accounts. So we share on there all a lot of student success stories and that sort of thing. So you might want to go on and have a little look. It might give you a little bit of inspiration for next year for where our students have gone on to next. At the bottom of the screen, you'll see an admissions email. That email is there if you need anything, if you've got any questions about your application, if you've applied for the course and now you've changed your mind and you want to do something else, you can use that email to contact our admissions team and they can sort that for you. At the moment, our staff are currently contacting all of our applicants to conduct a telephone interview. So if you've already been into college and had your interview, that's fine. If you've already had your telephone interview, again, that's fine. But if you've not yet had your interview, just keep that admissions email, just jot it down or screenshot it or something, and keep that, because if you don't hear from us, please contact our admissions team, because it could be that we've got your details wrong on the system, a digit out in your phone number or something like that. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. I'm going to pass over to Paul. Like I say, you aren't visible and we can't see or hear you. So if you have got any questions, pop them in the chat or the Q&A. And once Paul has finished and Chris has spoken, we'll answer any questions at that stage. Okay, thanks, Paul.
No problem. Right, I'll just sort out sharing my screen. Short presentation that we've put together. Just catch up. Okay, so as Beth has already said, I'm going to be representing 5 of the 7 construction trades within the faculty. To my colleagues, Chris Lee is going to be talking about plumbing and Phil Ashton is going to be talking about electrical. So obviously there are a couple of pictures from our workshops and jobs that we do around the college. I'm going to be talking about painting, decorating, wall and floor tiling, carpentry and joinery, plastering and brickwork. And they all follow very similar routes as far as the qualifications are concerned. I'm going to talk a little bit about the qualifications at level 1 and then progression to level 2 and level 3. Plumbing and electrical work slightly different, and that's why I'm going to hand over to the tutors to talk about that. So within level 1 construction, normally the first year, as you can see in the bottom right, the Sitting Guilds logo, all our qualifications are Sitting Guilds, which are probably the best known and recognised qualifications within the construction area. Even my qualifications from many years ago are Sitting Guilds. So the level 1 Sitting Guilds diploma, it's made up of up to 7 units depending on the vocational area that you go into. All areas share 2 core units. So no matter what vocational you go into, you'll do the 2 core units. So that's principles of building, information and communication. That covers sort of foundation construction, wall construction, floor construction, roof construction, communication, roles, responsibility. The health and safety covers sort of electrical, fire, regulation, that type of thing. Both of those are assessed by an online exam. We call it an Evolve exam. So it's a secure exam direct to a Sitting Guild server. And then you do area specific qualifications like units. And it'll depend on the area you're in. Some areas have 3 units, some areas have 5. So they're assessed slightly differently. At the bottom there I put method of assessment. There's theory exams and there's practical assessment. So don't sort of be thinking, oh, I'm going to come into construction and it's just practical, because it very much isn't. The theory side of the unit is just as important, and there is an exam that needs to be passed for each section. They are multiple choice, they're done on paper, and then you will have a practical assessment that's done in the workshop that corresponds with that unit. Okay. When we move on to level 2 and level 3, the qualification changes a little bit to the new technical certificate. Now, the technical certificate covers very similar sort of units, so around the health and safety and principles of construction, but in preparation, your tools, your materials, maybe working at height, depending on the area you're in, and the practical application of those skills. But it's the method of assessment that has changed. At the higher levels, at the more technical levels, it's moving away from teach a unit and then exam it to an end exam, which is very much like a GCSE based exam, along with what I've wrote there, synoptic assessment. And that synoptic assessment is made up of some coursework that is completed running up to a practical assessment at the end of the year. So that's quite a big change, and there is more of an emphasis on some of that theory that goes along with sort of the practical sort of skills within construction. If you've any questions about these, yeah, as Beth has already said, put them down, best keep an eye on the chat, and we'll get to any questions as soon as they come up, really. Within the different vocational areas, I've done a little screen for each area: painting and decorating. Myself, Paul Daly, and Alan Jones is my colleague in that area. Our specialised units are access equipment, so working at heights basically, preparation of surfaces, obviously everything comes down to preparation, application paint by brush and roller, application of wallpaper, either foundation and simple matches, and decorative effects. So by decorative effects, we normally talk about sponge stippling, rag rolling, stencils, and then some maybe graining and marbling, but they're more level 2, level 3 rather than level 1. Carpentry and joinery, they cover basic joints, creating frames, and then they move on to fixing skirting boards, architraves, roof construction, truss roof construction, traditional floor construction. You've got 5 members of staff in that area, so it's a really well staffed area because it's always very popular. The wall and floor tiling department, 2 members of staff in there. They do preparation again, fixing to wall and floor, mixing materials and using and handling the tools associated with that. A couple of tutors in there. Alan, he's been in the trade about 46 years, 17 of those teaching, really well experienced. Paul's new to teaching, but he's got really current industry experience at the moment. The plastering department, Mark Hogan and Brian Jenkins, 2 lovely mugshots there for you. Same again, preparation of your surfaces, application of different materials from your dot and dab to your hard surfaces, skim coatings, fixing of sheet materials, your plasterboards, wide range of techniques covered in a well-equipped workshop. The brick department, 3 members of staff in there, Bob, Jed and Liam. They tend to cover everything from foundation to damp-proof course, application, laying of brick, laying of block, cavity wall construction, and all aspects of bricklaying. Another very popular area in quite a large area. Within construction, obviously health and safety is key, no matter which area we're talking about. And we always like to talk about PPE. PPE is required in all the workshop sessions. There's no getting out of it. There's no, oh, I forgot it. Can I get away with my trainers? PPE is essential. On there, I've got a couple of images for you. Your high-vis vest, so either work pants or overalls, depending on the area you're in, work boots. There's also a picture on there of the college polo. And what we've done is we've created a colour coordinated t-shirt scheme. Different areas have different t-shirt colours. It's your only cost really to come into college. PPE is provided by the college apart from your t-shirt. So there's a small cost for the t-shirt. Last year it was around £15 for 2, supplied by Ideal Uniforms. We're doing that again, but we'll organise that at enrolment. but you know, without besides bringing a pen and a pencil and maybe a Sharpie to tiling, a t-shirt is your only real cost. You know what I mean? Within college, within the areas, each area has some lockers. They're not huge lockers. If you fetch a great big rucksack, you're not going to get them in there. But a locker that you can use during the day for your belongings, you need to supply your own padlock for those. So, you know, that's a good idea. Get yourself a little padlock, throw your stuff in there, you know, put your trainers in there, put your jacket in there when you're putting your PPE on. There's 2 slides at the end after we've talked about plumbing and electrical. One of those is about apprenticeships, but Beth's jumped in there and covered that to a great degree. And the other one is some contact details. So what we've done on the next to last slide is put the email address of each vocational area. And what I suggest you do is take that email address, email the tutor for the vocational area you really want to speak to, and give them the mobile number, and they'll contact you for a one-to-one chat. Okay, and obviously the people from that vocational area will be able to give you a lot more information than what I've tried to cover today. Don't want to keep a lot of your time up. I think I've covered more or less everything I wanted to. It's just you having an understanding of how you progress from level 1 into level 2 into your second year, and at some point the opportunity is always there for an apprenticeship. When we talk about the level 1 diploma, that ties in directly to the framework at the moment that's been delivered within the apprenticeships. There is a move to standards, which is a new qualification within the apprenticeship setup. So things are going to be a little bit different in apprenticeships over the next 12 months, 18 months sort of thing. But I'm sure whatever you do at any point in the college will move forward with you into employment and move forward into your next level of qualification. I don't think I've missed anything. I'm going to hand you over to Chris Lee to talk about plumbing.
Hi everyone. So as Paul said, my name's Chris and I'm one of the plumbing tutors at St Helens College. From next month, I'll be entering my 4th year teaching at the college, okay? And it's a great place to come and learn. I spent 12 years in the industry before coming into college, and I've met some great students, some great members of staff, and it really is a really good place to come to. So when we talk about plumbing, and Paul talked about different qualifications and level 1 and level 2, okay? Apart from the units being slightly different, you might be wondering, well, why do I get onto a level 1 or how do I get onto a level 2? And it purely comes down to your maths and English grades, okay? So obviously, you've not been able to sit your GCSEs this year, and you will all be given a predicted maths and English grade. And that's what we'll be using. If you still require maths and English this year, okay, you will go on to a level 1 program. And that means that you'll continue level 1 plumbing or level 1 painting or whatever trade you decide to go into. But at the same time, you will continue to study your English and maths in the hope to get your 4s or above next year when you get to sit them, okay? If your grades are predicted that you're going to get 4s or above this year, then you would go straight onto level 2 in that construction area. And that's how we've decided that it's going to work, okay? You are in college for 3 days a week, whether you're doing level 1 or level 2. But if you are doing level 1, your maths and English will be incorporated into that 3-day week, okay? So within level 1, we've got 10 units, okay? A lot of these marry up with what electrical do. So there's some core units in both plumbing and electrical, such as the structure of the construction industry, fundamental safe working practices, and site preparation for the construction industry. If you do come and you complete a level 1, okay, then you would progress on to level 2. So level 2 has 7 units, and like Paul mentioned, it's a technical qualification. So this means rather than you having end of unit exams, you would have one end of year exam, which usually takes place in around April. That's a 2-hour sit down multiple choice exam, which gets sent away to City and Guilds for marking, similar to a GCSE, and you would find out in June how you've done on that and that works as a fail, pass, merit or distinction. If you have happened to fail it, okay, when you get them results in June, you'll get one opportunity at a resit within that exam, and hopefully second time round you'd pass it. Alongside that, we have the synoptic element, which incorporates the practical side, but also quite a lot of coursework in planning and design. So as well as you having that theory exam in April, you'd also have a synoptic element. There's like a 6-week window where you would carry out around about a 16-hour practical element with design, planning, coursework elements to that as well. On completion of both synoptic and the theory exam would give you the completion of the level 2 qualification. We then have the option to progress onto level 3 technical, and it depends on where you want your career to go. You know, are you looking for an apprenticeship at the moment? Are you just looking for the underpinning knowledge and skills that would hopefully get you an apprenticeship in the future? We're running the level 3 technical for the first time this year, and we've got around about 16, 17 enrolments for that. Level 3, although it will be advertised, is only a progression route, and you can't go on that unless you've completed the level 2. So just a quick one again, the grades to get onto your level 2 are grades 4 and above in English and maths. The 2-hour multiple choice exam taken in April with one resit opportunity in June, and the synoptic element, which includes planning, installation and maintenance, approximately 16 hours of assessment. And there's also an employer involvement element to this qualification and all technical qualifications. So as part of your qualification, you will take part in workshop sessions taken by industry experts and professionals. So what does that mean? Well, in plumbing, some of the industry professionals we had in last year was Myra Showers. We had Magna Clean, which are filters for central heating systems. We've had Salamander pumps. Okay, you can see an image there on the screen of Salamander pump workshop, where that's an actual shower pump that is showing at that moment in time, and it's to gain more expertise from the industry experts about how products work, so that you're getting that knowledge to further progress in your career. We also take part in regional and national skills competitions. Okay, so if you're showing really good skills in what you're doing within college, you might be nominated to be given the opportunity to take part in a regional and national competition. These are 2 students that I've taught last year that both took part in the Apprenticeship of the Year competition, even though that they wasn't apprentices. Okay, so I put these guys forward because they were looking for an apprenticeship. They had the ability there to make a great apprentice, okay, but they needed something to highlight them of how good they were and something that they needed to put on the CV. So these 2 guys went in for the competition, they did really well, and both of them now have managed to get an apprenticeship to progress into next year, which is really good. Okay, so any questions about plumbing, like Paul said and Beth said, please pop them in the question and answers, and I will come back at the end and answer as much as I can. Hopefully by August time, we will be enrolling face-to-face, hopefully, and you can ask as many questions as you want there that you might not have thought of today, but you might want to ask in the future. Also, as Paul said, the email at the end, I'll have my email address on there, so if there's anything you want to ask me, pop that down and email it across. Okay, I'm going to pass over to Phil, who's from the Electrical Installation Department. I'll speak to you soon.
Morning. I am Phil Ashton from Electrical Installation, and just like want to refer to what Chris said before, I'm just started. It's my first year completion of Electra. I am going to do my degree in September. I've had 19 years experience on the site, and all lecturers that come with electrical installation are all fully qualified in the trade. Okay, so the Electrical Installation Department, the lecturers, we've got 6, and there's Keith Maglin, Alan Magson, Jonathan Griffiths, Joe Higgins, Paul Myers, and Philip Ashton, myself. Keith Macklin is the head of electrical, so if there's any problems in your whatever course you're on, you could go to Keith or whatever lecturer you've got. The The level 1, it's like plumbing, like Chris said, it all depends on your GCSE grades or your predicted GCSE grades. If you get a level 4, you won't be going into level 1, you'll be going into level 2. If you get a level 3, it's level 1. Yeah, I'm old school myself. I'm still A, B, C, D's, not 1, 2, 3s. So that I was a bit, I do apologise, I was a bit there. So same again, there's going to be 7 units, and same again, it sort of marries up with plumbing. You've got 3 core, so you've got construction, you've got health and safety, and you've got site preparation. Okay, with level 1, you do a number of tasks in that year, and you do practical and theory side. If you're in level 1, and it's like Chris has mentioned, you've got to do your maths and English. It's 3 hours maths, 3 hours English. Is it, or is it? Yeah. I'm just talking away. Then I'm a bit nervous myself. It's the first time I'm doing this. Then you do a day of theory and a day of practical. Okay, and that will be split over 3 consecutive days. If you once you've passed level 1, if you're on level 1, you can go into progress to level 2. Or if you have got the grades, you go straight into level 2. And it's very different to level 1. It's very much like plumbing, it's a technical. So you'd be completing the units. Then you would have an end of year exam. Then you would also be doing coursework and a practical exam. If you pass all them, then we can be running a level 3. But like same with plumbing, it's level 3 is a progress of I can't think of the word I'm saying. Progress of a course. Okay, so I'm going to put you back to Paul. If you've got any questions on electrical, just put them down in the chat, and I will get back to you. Or like we're going to. Later on in the slide, there is going to be an email. You have a chance to email, so you can email me directly and leave a number, and I can ring you and contact you. Okay, so thank you for your time, and I'll put you back to Paul.
Cheers, Phil. So obviously Beth covered apprenticeships at the beginning. Within the construction sort of department, all the members of staff have got really good links with industry, and the guys out there, the one-man bands and the bigger concerns, they know that we know our learners, and they very often come to us and said, you know, have you got a good lad, have you got a good girl, I'm looking for somebody who's got these skills. And we very often progress learners, normally from level 1 as they're going into level 2, because a lot of employers like learners who maybe come with some skills, you know. So if you don't have an apprenticeship available at the moment, or you've not got an employment lined up, come and sign up, get yourself on a course, and there is a good opportunity that during the year an employer can approach your member of staff and say, have you got somebody who's available or appropriate, and we'll get you to do a CV, and we'll get you to put yourselves forward for interview. You know, it's not always the most skilled person we're looking to put forward. We're looking at the full range of skills, your behaviours, your attitudes. Timekeeping is huge. I can't emphasise enough how, you know, my trade, painting and decorating, it's a finishing trade. A lot of the time you're going into people's domestic properties. I'm looking for good manners. I'm looking for how your appearance is. I'm looking for how you put yourself across, how you speak, your tone, everything, not just your painting skills. So you need to be thinking about that if you're looking at going into employment. And we cover that type of skills with you. The guys have commented about your time in college, how it's 3 days, something that none of us have actually touched on. Within your 3 days, you have this requirement for English and maths. But if you pull those 4s out and you don't go to English and maths, you will get a skills development slot, which will develop your skills around your trade area. You're also required to do a tutorial, a 1.5 hour tutorial within the week, and that's timetabled within your 3 days. And that covers all sorts of different skills, from CV writing to communication, all sorts of different things throughout the year. your 3 days aren't necessarily going to be Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, or Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. They can be split a little bit. It depends on your requirements for English and maths and how they're sitting in the timetable and the slots available. To take an example from my own area, paint and decorating level 1s this year will have English on a Monday afternoon, maths on a Tuesday morning, and then they're in college all day Wednesday, all day Thursday for theory, practical and tutorial. Okay. Have I missed anything else on apprenticeship, guys? No. Like I say, it's where you want to ultimately be going to. It's an apprenticeship. Yeah, you want to get those base core skills under your belt and move on into industry. Obviously, this is quite an important slide as far as I'm concerned. These are the vocational areas and these are the email addresses for the staff involved. I know it might sound stupid this, but what I want to point out is sthelens.ac.uk. Many people say, I've tried emailing you, I'm not getting through, and it's because everybody's so used to putting co.uk. Because it's educational, it's ac.uk at the end, just be aware of that. Like I said, these webinars are difficult, they're not a two-way thing, they're a one-way street. Send an email, put your mobile number on it, get the member of staff who's specific to your area to ring you and have a one-to-one conversation, because that is going to be a far better experience than watching a webinar and listening to rant on about the qualifications and it's this and this. It's a lot of information to take on board in one go, and especially when we've tried to cover so many vocational areas in one go. Beth, have there any questions come in?
Yeah, so there's been a couple. I'll just, if anybody else has got any questions, now's your time to get them in, because we will start to wrap up if nothing else comes in. So there's been, first question was, does everyone start at level 1 on brickwork?
Okay, so it's a bit of a funny thing really. There is that opportunity to go on to level 2 if you come with those higher grades. So if you come with 4s, as Chris has said for the same for electrical and plumbing, if you come in with 4s, there's the opportunity to come in at level 2. Now, different people have different opinions on this. My own personal opinion is, I think you are better starting at level 1 rather than going in at level 2, because it gives you that extra time to gain those practical skills, that tool dexterity. Now, the government and Ofsted disagree with that slightly. They think if you're coming in with a 4, you're working at that academic level that should allow you to go straight into level 2. Depends who you ask what sort of answer you'll get on that. But basically, the bare bones of it are, if you've got 4s and you want to, you can come in at level 2 straight onto the technical. Whether that's gives you the opportunity and the time within the year to gain those level 2 skills is debatable. You'll have to have good hand-eye coordination and pick up those practical skills very quickly to go straight into level 2.
So she's just added on to that to say, if we start at level 2, what can you do after the first year if you don't get an apprenticeship? So I think that's what you're touching on as well there, Paul, aren't you? Saying really level 1 gives you the basic skills to go into level 2 to then develop your skills and knowledge and career.
If you come straight in at level 2, you'll be going on to the technical rather than the diploma. And as Chris alluded to in plumbing, all the technicals are the same. You start in September, you have an exam beginning of May sometime, and if you fail it, you get 1 resit. After level 2, each vocational area offers a level 3 provision as progression from level 2. And it is also a technical. Your problem is when you get an apprenticeship is stepping back to a level 2 standard, and that's something government are looking at the moment, because there's a few issues around it, but it will be sorted out by the time anybody who's enrolling in September on an apprenticeship gets to the end of their apprenticeship. My personal opinion is you're better starting at the lower level and working your way through, giving you the longer opportunity of gaining employment through yourself, through the apprenticeship website, and family members is obviously people who know people in construction is a big way into the construction skills. And as I've already said, employers coming to the college and asking us for recommendations. But yeah, if you come at level 2, if you get an apprenticeship, great, you will go on to either the framework or the new apprenticeship standard that's coming in last year, this year and next year, or you'll progress on to level 3. If you get to the end of level 3 and then you haven't gained an apprenticeship, then you're struggling. And you're out there into the big wide world of the job centre and searching for a job like many others.
Okay, I just want to touch on as well. So you've all mentioned maths and English, but just for anyone that's unsure on that, or that it can feel a little bit off-putting to think that you've got to continue with those studies, that's the same for every college. So that's not just St Helens that puts that in place. That's a government guideline. So government say that if you don't get that grade 4 within your maths and your English, so obviously they're the main areas that employers will look for in the future and that sort of thing. If you don't get those grade 4s, you will have to continue those studies with maths and English no matter what college you go to. So just if anyone was sitting feeling a little bit put off by continuing with those studies, that's a government thing, that's not a St Helens College thing.
What I would like to say, Beth, on the back of that is obviously we have functional skills at level 1 and level 2, not just GCSE. And we have tutors that are really experienced and really skilled at taking learners who come at 1s and 2s and maybe putting them into a functional skill environment, which is taught in a different way, it's examined in a slightly different way. If you have struggled at GCSE, you don't necessarily get thrown straight back into a GCSE resit. You'll do an initial assessment, and the Maths and English team will assess you and put you in a grade and in a class that is more suitable to your level. So you're working with people working at that same level, working towards maybe a functional skill qualification that is more attainable than a GCSE sometimes.
Yeah, and we've also had another question, Paul. So what if my place is being confirmed without an interview?
If your place has been confirmed without an interview, I'm curious how that's happened.
I think that maybe be with it. So obviously when COVID hit and we had to close campuses and things like that, everybody was given a don't worry, your place is secure until further notice. So it's not necessarily that we're now going to come back to you and say, no, you can't have your place. It's just that this interview is more about IAG, information, advice and guidance for you as a student. So your place may be confirmed, but obviously the staff will be in touch now to see what level you will be going on to and that sort of thing. Is that right, Paul?
Yeah, my understanding is, I mean, normally under normal circumstances, these events you would be coming into college and we'd be talking to tutors in the workshops. What that does, when you've had your interview, that your name is in the system and it will instigate, as I understand it, some form of invitation to come in to enrolment. Now, enrolment this year is still up in the air. Is it going to be face-to-face in college, or is it going to be some form of online process? And that is yet to be confirmed. But once it has been confirmed, the college will be contacting everybody who is in the system, whose name is in the system. Okay. Couple of things about enrolment. If you were normally coming in face-to-face, it normally lands on GCSE results day. You need a couple of things to enrol. You need your results. Normally you go into school early doors, you would get a slip with your grades on them. That's the first thing you need to prove you've got whatever you've got in your GCSE. The other thing you need is your national insurance number. As you turn 16, that would have been sent out to you. Put it in your phone, put it down, save it in your phone, because you're going to be asked for it over and over again. Make sure you've got your national insurance number. And the other thing is some form of identification, either a birth certificate or a passport, driving license, something of that ilk to prove who you are. You need those three things to enrol. The other thing I've not really commented on, something we didn't touch on, is this sort of thing. When you are enrolled, you'll be given a lanyard. That lanyard is important as your PPE. It gets you through the magnetic locks on the doors. If you come into college without it, you will be challenged, you will be asked for it. you will have to go and get another one that comes with the cost. So, and it's also more importantly for me, that is your pass to your free breakfast. So make sure you've got your ID with you at all times.
Yeah, okay, so there's not any other questions come in, but I'll just give you a couple of seconds now if anybody has got any other questions. So whether it's something we've covered, if it's something you feel that's not being covered, questions about uniforms, anything, now's your time. But obviously you have got those contact details that we've left up on screen too. So maybe if you're on your phone, screenshot them or write them down or anything, just to make sure you've taken a note of them. Because as Paul said, if you contact that relevant tutor, they can give you any information. So obviously we've covered quite a lot today, but if there's anything specific that you want to ask, they will be the right people for you to contact on the screen. So there's still no further questions coming, Paul. So I think you've all been quite, you've given quite a lot of information there. So hopefully everything has been covered, and hopefully anyone that's not asked questions has taken your details just in case they do think of anything. But thank you all so much for joining our event today. Hopefully you found it useful, and hopefully it's got you excited for September and joining us as a student. So thank you again. Good luck with your GCSE results, and we look forward to welcoming you in September. Thanks everyone. Thanks Paul.
Very much, boys and girls. Cheers.
Thank you. Bye.